Good morning. Today we will be discussing the NCRT class 10th economics chapter 2nd, that is sectors of Indian economy. Indian economy is a very basic chapter. When we talked about Indian economy, you all know well that three basic sectors are there in Indian economy. The very first sector is the primary sector or the agricultural sector. The second sector is known as manufacturing sector or secondary sector or industrial sector, and the third sector is tertiary sector or maybe known as service sector. So growth of service sector is only because there has been the growth of primary and secondary sector, and you need to support the primary and secondary sector. Now let's go start with the primary sector. So as the name suggests, it is related to primary activities. So everything that related directly to nature would come under primary sector. So it's dependent predominantly on the natural factor. For example, agriculture, dairy, mining, fishing, forestry, etc. All these are directly depend on the natural resources, and they are classified in the primary sector. The next is the secondary sector. Under secondary sector, what we are doing is we are changing the form of the natural product that we have, so it could be either in the industry, in factories. Now these could be either home-based industry or big industrial setups. It could be workshops, small factories, big factories, or home-based factories or works, artisan workshops we can see. So all these are classified under industrial sector. We also called secondary sector as industrial sector. For example, from the earth we get bricks, and we transform these bricks or use these bricks to make the building or house. And what we are trying to explain here is, from the natural resources that we are getting, we are changing it to some other form to use it or to utilize it, and this is not a direct product from the nature. So from the nature you don't directly get the building as such, correct? The next is the tertiary sector. Under the tertiary sector, what we do is we try to explain any kind of support that is given to primary or secondary sector. So any support that we provide to primary or secondary sector would be classified as tertiary sector. For example, you have an agricultural produce on your piece of land, and this agricultural produce you want to transport to it to some other region. So we will try to use transportation, and this transportation would be tertiary sector, because we are providing a support facility to the primary sector. So again, transportation, communication, banking, storage, trade, all these are kind of tertiary sector activities. Now of recent, what we have done is we have further classified tertiary sector under different heads. So whatever services are generated are called tertiary sector. We also call this sector as service sector. Now when we extend the dimension of tertiary sector, we can go as quaternary sector and quaternary sector. First, quaternary sector. What is quaternary sector? Quaternary sector involves intellectual activities like all researches and education, researches and development, IT related job, consultancy job, all this would fall under quaternary sector, because we are adding something to the services. So all kind of higher order services would be classifying under quaternary sector. Next is quinary sector. Further, the topmost level of services which involve decision making would be part of quinary, and this predominantly included the top executives and the top officials. So these are the 5 sectors that we talked about. Under NCERT we have classified these under only 3 sectors.